Yo, I know it's a March home win over the Sacramento Kings without Sabonis. I'll tell you what, the eye test matters, and this team looks damn good. Steph Curry hits 4,000. Jonathan Kuminga returns, yet that may not be the biggest storyline from this game. Let's talk about it.
Who cares now? Because I'm here, and I would like to think that I am wanted here.
Most importantly, he a dog.
We got 4 championships.
You are Locked On Warriors.
I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Speculation is just what it is, though.
Your team every day.
What is the good word, everyone? Welcome into Locked On Warriors. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. How about the Golden State Warriors winners over the Sacramento Kings on Thursday night? Final score 130 for the good guys, 104 for Sacramento. A game where Steph Curry hit 4,000 three-pointers for his NBA career. A game where Jonathan Kuminga returned. I mean, Curry's 4,000 is the one that's going to go in the record book. Kuminga's return, also a major boost to this year's potential. But the mundane story was a March win over the Sacramento Kings, and that is where we are going to start. But first, you can find our show on YouTube, wherever you get your audio podcasts. And we're brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins on FanDuel. I'm Charlie Walter, 95.7 The Game, formerly KPIX, which is CBS News Bay Area. Matt Kolsky teamed up with me at 95.7 The Game, also covered the Warriors for KNBR, and we break down a win today that starts with just the win. Sure, there were a lot of side stories, Kuminga, Curry, but the win, man, the Wolves are nipping at your heels. You consistently win basketball games, and you can't form any separation, so the only thing you can do is win. And it's the way they got it done, man. Just a full team effort on their home floor. It looked really nice.
Yeah, you got everything you wanted out of tonight. You know, you got Steph's 4K. You got the win. You got I mean, I don't know how Jonathan Kuminga's return to the lineup could have gone much better. No complaints. No notes. Good win.
Easy enough. I haven't even looked at the stat line yet. I mean, there's so much to get into. Who was the star of the game? I mean, Curry, obviously the big story. Kuminga, 18 points in 20 minutes. We could start right there. But I do want to take a minute to talk about how crazy it is that the Warriors right now are in a situation where they continue to win basketball games. And we're talking about you got to win just to keep a half game on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who just destroyed Denver. The schedule coming up, I know it's a crazy thing to look right into the schedule before you even talk about the game and the records that went down and the return. But this is now 6 straight wins. 6 straight. It's 11 straight with Jimmy Butler on the floor. And why this is so big is because you have this stretch coming up with New York, Denver, Milwaukee, and Sacramento considered, even without Sabonis, a formidable team. If you can just take care of business against these 4, then you got Toronto, you got Atlanta, you got Miami, you got New Orleans, you have San Antonio. This right now is a stretch where the Warriors just need to take care of business. They reintegrate a new player. Like, this had all the makings of somewhat of a, maybe not a letdown game, but a difficult game. And the Warriors just made it look easy. And the way they did it, it passes every single eye test. Do you believe a little bit more than you did 24 hours ago?
No, because I mean, I think my belief since this trade and since we saw it is pretty well established. And I guess if anything, it's not the win or even how they won. It's how good Kuminga looked as part of this thing. That would have maybe given me more encouragement. But honestly, that's really just living up to my expectations. Like, this is what I think this team can be to really affect the way I think about it. They're going to have to keep doing this against the good teams, you know? And like you said, that's on your doorstep. Knicks on Saturday. What is it? Knicks, Bucks, and who's the third?
Knicks.
You just
Bucks,
said it. My apologies. Denver, right, of course.
You got Denver a few times at home later in the season.
You take 2 out of those 3, I'm feeling pretty good. You win all 3, now we're talking.
No doubt, man. How the Warriors got it done was pretty much just an ass kicking, start to finish. There was a stretch there where the end of the first half, where the Kings brought it within striking distance. If my timeline is correct, there
it is. As Steve Kerr said though in his interview to start the fourth quarter, the Warriors brought it close by kicking the game around. They turned it over. I don't know how many turnovers they finished with. Overall, it was 16, right? I swear to God, 12 of those were from 4 minutes left in the second quarter to 3 minutes into the third quarter. It was just 7 or 8 minutes of trash, for lack of a better word. And you know what? Look, you go up 20 plus in the first half, things like that can happen. The important thing is so many times this year before the I was going to say BJ, but before Jimmy, but that's not it's not my favorite acronym for to reuse. In any event,
BB before Butler.
There it is. In the before Butler days, games like this became back and forth battles for the entire second half and then went into clutch territory, and the Warriors were losing half of them. Now they get a handle on it in the middle of the third quarter, and most of the fourth is a laugher. Excellent. Steph Curry finishes the night 4 for 9. Great. Jimmy Butler 2 for 5. Excellent. Let's not put any more work and stress on those bodies than we have to. Moody, Draymond doing it again.
Give me the double figures number, man. 8 people. 8 people in double figures.
Draymond Green, your leading scorer with 23, 4 of 7 from three-point range. We got to get somebody on our crack research staff, which is to say somebody in the YouTube comments, has got to look up the last time Draymond Green led the Warriors in scoring. I can't remember it happening, frankly.
It probably happened randomly.
I'm sure it did.
Not that long ago, but
not this year. That's for sure.
No, not this year.
And I
defense,
bet it didn't happen last year.
Defense is something we can always hang our hats on with Draymond. Swarming in the first half, but it wasn't just him. It was even the unlikely sources. Stan Van Gundy saying that Buddy Hield played the best defense he's ever seen Buddy Hield play in his life.
That's what he said.
And I would imagine Van Gundy's watched a few games here and there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think he's seen Buddy more than a few times, and that was – but he made real clear what he was saying, too. He was like, oh, this is the best defense I've ever seen Buddy Hield play. I don't mean this year. I mean right now in this game, he's playing better than I've ever seen him defend in my life. I have to say, front to back on the season, Buddy Hield's defensive effort and focus has been better than expected. Great? No. Good? But better than expected. And I would agree. Tonight, he was particularly active on the defensive end.
He's always active. He just doesn't necessarily have the
ability.
What would you call it? The ability, A, and B, just the whereabouts, right? Like Jimmy knows where he is at all times. He plays so under control, and sometimes Buddy just doesn't have that part to him, which,
you know what?
It's sometimes either have it or you don't, right? When it comes to just that clickability with anything.
There's that.
I mean,
but to be honest, I feel like it is a talent, but I also think like the insanity that's required to shoot the way that someone like Buddy Hield does requires a level of detachment that oftentimes leads to questionable defensive decision-making. Like, you got to be nuts to shoot like that. You just do. Even Steph is nuts. And even Steph makes some gambles you'd prefer he didn't make because he's nuts. But frankly, with Buddy Hield, like, I think we've seen pretty clearly, the issue is you can't give him too much responsibility. And as long as he is low down the responsibility totem pole, he's going to give you some stuff you need. Like, he's become a really useful player for this team, and he seems to be a tremendous locker room presence.
And he can spell connector, regardless what Jimmy Butler says. He can spell connector. He ended that clip a little bit too short. Lot to get into. We're 10 minutes in. We have not talked about the record, or not even the record, just extending the record. No one's close to Steph Curry's three-point record. In fact, he's going to finish probably, 1,000 over James Harden, at least. Something along those lines.
We'll see. It depends who plays longer and, like, the thing about Harden is, like, you never know. He could end up shamelessly gunning for the Charlotte Hornets for the next 5 years or something.
It's going to be a Cal Ripken, Pete Rose type record, though, that just doesn't even really come close, right? Is what we're
hard
getting at.
to imagine, but I mean, I get, never underestimate the potential evolution of NBA players, I suppose, but
no one in this current evolution, let's just say that. No one in the league's catching Steph anytime soon. I think that's very fair to say.
It's hard for me to believe that anyone who's been born yet is catching Stephen Curry. It just seems insane. It seems
If
insane.
so, we have not seen their rivals in huddle tape yet. The sixth graders out of St. Thomas and randomly Jackson, Mississippi. That's where the next grade shooter is going to come from.
I watch those guys a lot, and I don't see it.
No, absolutely not. All right, so we're continuing the conversation. We got Curry, we got Jonathan Kuminga, and why the role players on the Warriors right now, kind of the fringe guys, are no longer fringe guys. They're becoming part of the dudes. Let's talk about that coming up on Locked On Warriors.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at TurboTax. This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who could do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you get the most money back, guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now, this is taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at, wait for it, Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it is easy to lose track after all the subscriptions, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. So stop managing your money and start building your wealth. How about that? Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first order. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Let's get back to it.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
All right, Steph Curry hits his 4,000 three-pointer. Third quarter. The game was a blur, but correct me if I'm wrong, third quarter after halftime. And the way he did it was poetic. It was with Kevin Harlan on the call, who jinxed him on a free throw a couple years ago. That was the big news there. Kevin Harlan on the call, who was just on the program a couple days ago. Shout out Locked On Warriors. We appreciate that. Comments, likes, subscribes, everything like that goes a long way. And not only all that to it, he does it at home. He said that after the game, like the 3-point record, it was great in New York. That's a pretty nice place to set a record. But to have another milestone and to do it in Chase Center is pretty awesome. And then just the way he did it. A pump fake, gets his defender flying past him, another player coming at Curry. It had transpired due to kind of a turnover, then another. It was just kind of like a loose ball. Warriors were the grittier team, got it to Curry, and we've seen that so many times over his career. What can you say? I mean, I don't even know how to form this into a question. It's more just like Steph Curry, 4,000. Give the man the roses.
Yeah, he's incredible. And there's nothing you can say that hasn't been said about Steph Curry. But I will say something that I think maybe should be said more, which is that for all the incredible stuff he's capable of on a basketball court, I mean, literally dozens of things that few, if any, people in the history of the game can do. I think what sets him most apart a lot of the time is the joy. It's just the there's a reason that so much about how the Warriors are doing and what is likely to transpire can be read off of the vibes around this team. And it's because as the kids say, Steph Curry is a vibe. Steph Curry, he lifts buildings. He
is him. He is him.
But seriously, like, LeBron is not getting MVP chance in opponents' buildings. He's just not. Jordan didn't get that stuff, really. Like, he is so different from any other superstar, and lovability, while not a basketball skill, is a part of the whole package. That the joy of rooting for Steph Curry is almost unparalleled in my sporting life. And like, there are plenty of teams that I have personally wanted to succeed more than the Golden State Warriors of Steph Curry's era, you know? But the joy of watching him play and win is pretty much unmatched.
The joy you get when you see Jonathan Kuminga. Now that is a segue.
Or
do I go with the joy the team as a whole is playing with right now? Let's go there. Let's save Kuminga for the cherry on top of the sundae, because there's so many just subplots and developments through this game. But I think it's very important to talk about the fringe guys just being better as a collective unit and being better individually. They're just playing really nice as a team, and players that you thought would not really even have a role on this year's team, even months in, have turned into, like, Guy Santos, the human victory cigar, we called him to start the season, right? Him and was it Kyle Anderson out there, the human victory cigars?
It was Pat Spencer for a minute, yeah.
It was Pat Spencer, yes, who had 11 points in the game today. But even Guy Santos, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He was perfect from the floor, 4 of 4, knocks down a bucket to get the crowd up to end the third quarter and really put an exclamation point next to this thing off a Buddy Hield missed 3. You want to talk about other players stepping into the role. Moses Moody, 17, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, hit 4 of 6 from 3, got to the line 6 times, hit 5 of them, over 50% from the floor in his 30 minutes. You remember, this was the same season where it felt like Moses Moody was struggling to get 10, 15 minutes. There may have been DNPs. Now, I know most of them were due to injuries, but there were times where it felt like he was not a part of the program. I mean, think about the game in Brooklyn where he had that great run in the first half and we barely saw him parts of the second half. So he stepped into it. Quentin Post, man, we talked about him, 10 points in the game. He knocks down 3 threes. That's huge. I mean, you get all this done today, and Jimmy Butler only scores 6 points, has 7 assists, has 5 rebounds in 28 minutes. I mean, light work for Butler, who is so damn smart. I mean, you saw it when he was on the high block and was just kind of, he's never ahead of himself. He's just patient, watches the game, knows what's coming, sees Draymond cut, and immediately just rifles in a bounce pass. Draymond lays it up and in. It's like, that's not going to go in the highlight reel, but that's 1 of 7 assists, and it was an easy bucket that Butler made happen with patience and instead of trying to do too much, which he probably could have just taken it in and laid it up.
That one is a great one because it stood out to me as well because of just the like suddenness and quickness with which he made the actual pass. It's the beauty of Jimmy Butler, right? He kind of can stand still for 5 seconds, and it's like, boy, this guy moves slow. And then all of a sudden, in a split second, before you even realize he's making the pass, Draymond's laying it wide open into the basket. There is a connectedness with Jimmy Butler that even to me, who expected a lot from this union, is pretty remarkable. And it just reinforces not only how smart Butler and Draymond and Steph in particular are, but also how unselfish these guys are. Oh, yeah. Like, Jimmy Butler didn't try to score at all tonight, and that has been the case in a number of the games when he's been here, and even in the games where he scored better and looked more comfortable attacking, it's clearly not his priority, right? Like, Steph Curry is not going to be saying to anyone in the locker room, man, he even said in his post-game interview, it was kind of weird, I didn't get that many attempts up tonight, but that's not weird bad for him. It's weird good. I got to sit on the bench in the fourth quarter and watch us blow the Sacramento Kings out. That's a good time. Like, everybody wants to do their job, and that's a powerful thing. and I think that has a trickle down effect on
Contagious,
the
yeah,
role
for sure.
players, because as you're saying, like, so much more so than a month ago, 2 months ago, everyone is thriving in their role. And I think part of that is, being slotted into the right role by Butler moving up into the top part of the team. But it's also like unselfish leadership leads to unselfishness down the roster. And that has been a hallmark of the Warriors when they've been at their best. And that is part of what we're seeing right now.
Joy is, as we all know, it's contagious, man. It's contagious. And when you're playing happy, you're playing free, playing with a smile on your face, it does rub off on everyone in the locker room. And that's why, like I said, we opened with just a win, another notch to a 6-game winning streak, another notch to 11 straight with Jimmy Butler on the floor, and another win against a team that you're fighting with to have a playoff spot. And you need to keep winning. And that's why this is so massive, because this team just continues to grow more and more in the confidence factor. And that is one of the biggest factors when you come into the playoffs. That experience, Warriors have that. Talent, Warriors have that. Ability to go nuclear, Warriors have that. 22 threes today, 22 of 39. That's 56%. Quick rundown of the box score: 23 for Draymond. You could call him Graymond, I guess. He
is now, yeah. By the way, quick note
on
on that. Somebody did the work. Well, I don't know that. I'm gonna say that presumably somebody did the work in our chat. Hakone Uniboy. I'm sure I butchered that. Apparently on 4-9-16. So that a mere 9 years ago, Draymond led the team in scoring with 23 points to beat Memphis and send the Warriors record to 71-9. There it is. You put it on the screen.
That's kind of shocking to me.
I that sounds right to me. Like, Draymond doesn't have big scoring nights in general, but usually it's like, this is a big scoring night, 23, and there's not a lot of games in the last
23
decade.
Leads the way.
Yeah, for the Warriors. So
yeah,
there's been so much scoring on this team. It's never been something that he's asked to do. And I would not be surprised if that is the last time he did it. Although, I'm not going to check the work right now.
Hey, 4 of 7 from 3. He was 8 of 14 from the floor. We mentioned Butler had 6, Post had 10, Curry just 11, 4 of 9, 2 of 6 from 3. Moody 17, Kuminga 18. We'll get into JK in just a minute. Looney had 6, 0 for Trace, 10 for Santos, 16 for Buddy Hield on 6 of 10, 4 of 6 from deep. Peyton had 11. They were daring Gary Payton to shoot the 3 in the first half, and he just refused to. And this is now 2 straight games where he's shooting at like 75% from 3. Let it fly, Gary. Come on. Hot hand.
One might suggest that the reason he is shooting such a high percentage is responsible shot selection.
It's very responsible, to say the least.
Very responsible.
Yes, he's playing very within himself right now. If he has about 17 feet, he may take it. He's got to test the wind out first.
That's right. If he has time to read the wind, he'll shoot the shot.
He had 11. Pat Spencer had 2. Brandon Pajemski did not play again. I think this is 3 or 4 straight missed games. 3, I believe. That lower back injury. We will give you the updates as we have them, but we do have updates on Jonathan Kuminga. They're no longer speculatives. They're no longer he has to clear X, Y, and Z. It's no longer Steve Kerr talking about what his role is going to be, because we saw what Jonathan Kuminga brings to the table, and that is someone that probably is going to start taking some better shots. Felt like today he was taking the ball to the rim. That's what I want to get into. Kuminga's impact as a whole. It's coming up on Locked On Warriors.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel's giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, and even who's cutting down the nets. Will it be the Cougars of Houston? Will it be Auburn? Will it be Duke? We'll see. I like picking my favorites. Just you cobble together a couple 4 seeds, a 3 seed. You make it a little 4-team parlay. You could stay in on the action with live bets on games that are tipping off every 45 seconds, it seems. And it's easy and fast. When you win, you get paid instantly. There's no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com to get in on all the college hoops action all tournament long. Selection Sunday is this Sunday. Let's go.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Jonathan Kuminga, efficiency, man. Very efficient. 7 of 10. Only takes 1 3-pointer. Got to the line 6 times, hit 4 of them. Attacking the glass, whatever. 3 rebounds in the game, an assist, a steal, no turnovers. What I liked from Jonathan Kuminga was he was doing it in a variety of different ways. You saw Showtime, which was usually created by his teammates, and it was he was the beneficiary of just having a lot of talent and being able to finish what his teammates started. But forget that. The ball would go in his hands, and he would immediately just kind of put his head down and go to work. He was like, you stop me, you send me to the line, or I'm going to go up for a 4-foot shot and just cleanly miss it. And apparently the Kings could not do any of the 3 because he got to the line 6 times in 20 minutes. He pretty much made everything, and he was very efficient. No turnovers in the game. So that was his strategy, and it worked. It was aggression and just play within the flow of the offense. He doesn't need to shoot 4 threes like he did earlier in the season.
There's a lot less pressure on him to score, especially compared to the time leading up to his injury when there were other injuries that he was trying to overcome. There's somebody in the chat, too, that made a point that really stood out to me tonight. Again, I'm going to butcher someone's name, Lamortkai. Lamortkai? I don't know. Mordecai?
Lamortkai, yeah.
He looked so happy. Like, he is not traditionally a smiley guy on the basketball court, Jonathan Kuminga, and that's fine. You know, look however you want to look. But he looked like he was having the time of his life out there tonight. His first big dunk, the smile on his face was ear to ear. Like, the guy just looked like this is what it's all about. And
because it's fun again. It wasn't fun. I mean, it was fun early in the season, but it hit a lull where it just felt like the extension of the year prior, and it was hard to really find the joy because you felt like the inevitability of just not going to places you wanted to go was creeping in, and the end was near. And it feels like there's rejuvenation. It's no longer like the end is near. It's like, what is this team ceiling? How good can they be?
And I think my hope would also be for JK that part of that is also like you sit on the sidelines, you're working to get back, and you're watching A, how good it's going, and B, how much fun everyone's having out there. And maybe it lets you put aside a little bit the thoughts of your contract, put aside a little bit the thoughts of the pressure that was legitimately on him to be, frankly, more than they have allowed him to be throughout the course of his career, all of a sudden because of the state of the team, and instead just be like, I'm just going to run up and down the floor, throw down some dunks, and have a good time. And honestly, like, down the road, you hope Jonathan Kuminga can be a number 1 or 2 talent on a team, but that's clearly not his role here. And if he's ready to just run up and down and dunk and attack mismatches, which is what he did tonight,
oh yeah,
smooth sailing.
What was the mismatch? It was who did he have on him? It was
somebody little. He might add Monk on him really quickly, but
it was Keon Ellis. It was Keon Ellis.
Yeah, he's a good defender.
And he is. But Kuminga said, "You're not doing anything to me, Keon."
And it wasn't,
literally just put his shoulder right into him and laid it right up and in. It was easy.
It wasn't pretty, right? It was just I'm with you. That one stood out to me because it was just like, you know what? I'm bigger and more athletic. I'm just going to stick my butt into you and bully my way to the rim. And man, he can do that to so many people in this league. Like, Jonathan Kuminga can be a real problem if this is the way he plays.
38-28, man. Warriors have won 11 straight with Jimmy Butler on the floor. I got to bring this up because it's so surreal. It was just a month and a half ago. We had talked about the Warriors hadn't had a 3-game winning streak since like Thanksgiving, since like early November. 3-game winning streak. Now they're just, they can't lose. Find all the wood near you and knock on it, please, wherever you are. But they're winning basketball games, and they have a chance to win a lot more as the schedule ensues. And you got to win a lot more because the Wolves are right on your heels, and the Houston Rockets are playing better basketball again. So the only way to guarantee yourself a full series is to keep winning, because you control your own destiny right now, and these other teams are not letting their foot off the gas. So it's New York on Saturday. Kolsky, I'm about 75% in for this one, or 50% in for this one. It is St. Patrick's Day. I do want to enjoy this game. It's an early one. So if we don't, let's make a pact with the viewers right now. If we don't do a live show Saturday, what do you say Sunday morning? Maybe we get our cups of coffee and do a live show.
Oh, live on Sunday. Yeah, we'll do something. I
Selection
like
Sunday. Yeah. Before you get into your college hoops, we'll talk about it then. Because I think on Saturday, I'm thinking St. Patrick's Day may be fun. So
as long as you don't want me to comment on college basketball.
Oh, no, we're not talking any. My team stinks.
Hey, Jizzle James, though, exciting name, and also the son of Ezra and James. Like, that's something.
Yeah, but the portal's open, and that can change any day.
No.
We'll see if he is a part of my team. So
goodbye, Jizzle. Oh no.
No, we hope not. We hope not. You never know in this day and age. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, the Knicks. It's Saturday, and we will talk to you probably on Sunday. But hey, miracles do happen. This season is happening in front of our eyes. Who would have thought that the Golden State Warriors are pretty much the hottest team in the Western Conference, along with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who've been very hot all year long. But hey, the Warriors have a winning record against the Thunder. Just keep on winning, baby. Let's just have some fun basketball in the spring, bleeding into the summer. That's all we wanted all season. Why stop now?
The Warriors are the hottest team in the Western Conference non-Thunder division.
Yes. In the Pacific. See ya, everyone.
If Chuck finds a leprechaun, we're going live Saturday.